All right, Douglas V. Gibbs here, Constitution Study Television. Here's the question that I've been posed a lot lately, and I didn't have anybody particularly send me this question, but it's been all over Facebook, all over the internet. Here's the question: can the president send the National Guard to the border to stop the illegal alien caravan, illegal alien invasion, whatever you want to call it? My name is Douglas V. Gibbs. I am a Mr. Constitution, America's constitutional authority, and you can learn more about me at politicalpistachio.com and douglasvgibbs.com. All right, let's dive into this. So, what we're told is we have U.S. Code and posse comitatus, which allows the governor to tell the president, no, you cannot use the National Guard at our border. The U.S. Code law, posse comitatus, whatever, cannot change the Constitution. The only thing that can change the Constitution is an amendment. All right, so an amendment to the Constitution is the only way to change the Constitution. Therefore, those laws have not changed it. So we have to go back to the Constitution. What does the Constitution say? So let's go to Article 1, Section 8 first. Article 1, Section 8, about halfway through, maybe two-thirds of the way through that section. And here's what it says: that the Congress shall have the power to provide for calling forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrections, and repel invasions. So, first of all, Congress has the authority to call forth the militia. Doesn't belong to the president. President doesn't put them in action. Congress does. Then, in Article 2, Section 2, it says, the president shall be commander-in-chief of the Army and Navy of the United States and of the militia of the several states when called into the actual service of the United States. So, when Congress calls the militia into the service of the United States, the president is commander-in-chief, which means he is chief commander. Which would mean, if that's the case, the governor would have no say in whether or not he could use the National Guard in whatever way. He's commander-in-chief once they're called into action. Now, the National Guard can belong to both states and federal, depending on what the situation is. For example, I have a friend of mine who's a member of the National Guard, and when he's called forth by the state, let's say to pitch sandbags in the case of flooding, then he gets his paycheck from the state. He has been to the Ukraine, called forth by the federal government, by Congress, to serve, in which the president became his commander-in-chief. He went to the Ukraine. He actually taught the Ukrainians how to shoot, that kind of thing. He's a weapons specialist, fighting specialist, something like that. But anyway, and his paycheck came from the federal government. So while the National Guard isn't necessarily federalized, and it essentially belongs to the state, when Congress calls them to action, they belong to the federal government during that time period until they are released from that service by Congress. So here's basically the whole thing. National Guard belongs to the states unless they are called into actual service of the federal government by the Congress, at which time Commander-in-Chief is the President. Now, here's something else that's interesting real quick. I read earlier in Article 1, Section 8, the reasons that Congress could call them into actual service of the United States: execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrections, and repel invasions. Then if you go to Article 1, Section 9, it indicates that the state can call the National Guard into service when actually invaded or in such imminent danger as will not admit of delay. That's at the end of Article 1, Section 10, actually, not 9, I'm sorry. Article 1, Section 10. So, both times, they're instructed that the militia, which the National Guard's part of, can be called in action to repel invasion. This caravan coming, is it not an invasion? Is not illegal aliens crossing the borders, regardless of the laws that are on the books, an invasion? What does invasion mean? It's an unwanted encroachment. So in both cases, not only should they place these people at the border to protect and secure it, they should and they must, they are obligated to. All right, so that answers the question, right? So regardless of what the U.S. Code says, and don't get me wrong, and the U.S. Code is important as the law of the land, and even in the U.S. Code, it admits that there are two parts of the militia. You have the organized militia and the unorganized militia. Organized militia being the state militias, which about half the states have a state militia. The state militia, naval militia, and the National Guard. But it also indicates in the U.S. Code there is such a thing as an unorganized militia. That's you and I, folks. And as the unorganized militia, are we not also allowed to be at the border to repel invasions? I don't know, the Minutemen that used to be at the border come to mind. But anyway, in the end, U.S. Code does not trump the Constitution. Constitution trumps U.S. Code. They cannot change what this says when it comes to authorities simply because they passed a law. All right? So that is the skinny of it. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at constitutionspeaker@yahoo.com. And, of course, visit my sites, politicalpistachio.com, douglasandvgibbs.com. And this stuff costs money. So if you want to help, if you want to donate, you want to put a few coins in the jar, there's a yellow donate button on each of those pages at politicalpistachio.com. It's on the right-hand side, right above where you can also join the email list. And I would love to have you. Send your questions, constitutionspeaker@yahoo.com. It's been a pleasure. I am Douglas V. Gibbs. This is Constitution Study Television. We'll see you next time. Ciao.